We fully admire the important role coffee plays in Ethiopia, especially the role it plays in Ethiopia's foreign trade, for forex and job and employment creation. China is also paying a great attention to improving coffee plantation. Regarding this, Professor Deng would elaborate on this in a short while. I would like to just make a few main points. Firstly, this year regarding Ethiopia's coffee export to China, based on the performance of the first quarter, it is estimated that this whole year, this export volume will be more than at least twice. That this development trend will be sustained in the coming years. I used to serve as the leader in Shanghai city, which is the largest city in China. And this time I went back to Shanghai, and the leader in Shanghai told me that the number of cafes in Shanghai ranks #1 in the world. Chinese consumers and Chinese ordinary people, due to our historical reasons, they accept tea better. So they have a habit of drinking tea. But since this year, this situation has been changing rapidly. More and more young people and middle-aged Chinese people, they prefer and love drinking coffee. Just take my family as an example. My wife, my son, and my daughter-in-law, they all love drinking coffee. And in my opinion, they know more about drinking coffee than myself. And many of my colleagues will come to my home every week to drink coffee because they think that my wife can make coffee a lot better and make it very good taste. Of course, maybe due to branding and promotion reasons, many Chinese consumers know very little about the high quality of Ethiopian coffee, and they know little about the fact that Ethiopia is the main producer of coffee in the world.
中国的消费者最早接受的是瑞士的雀巢咖啡，所以一直认为雀巢的咖啡是全世界最好的咖啡。
For Chinese consumer, the earliest brand of coffee they knew is Nestle from Switzerland. So they always considered Nestle as the best coffee brand. So Switzerland, they do not produce coffee themselves, but maybe they have unique advantages in terms of coffee processing and coffee sales, and they may have a global network of coffee sales. During my time as a leader in a certain region in Shanghai, I was first leader to introduce coffee, Switzerland's coffee, to China. So although I may know not much about coffee, I am very emotionally connected to coffee, and I made a great contribution to it. After that, Chinese consumers knew a lot more about coffee from Vietnam, Laos, and other Southeast Asian countries. So there's a specific brand, coffee brand from Vietnam that is becoming very popular in China. Now, for Chinese tourists going to Vietnam, coffee is one of the must-buy for them. As Chinese people's living standard rises and as the number of middle-income community becomes stronger and bigger, I believe the coffee market will become more prosperous. Let me give you another example. In Hunan province, which is a southern China province that I used to work in. In Hunan province, every 2 years, we will hold a China-Africa Economic and Trade Forum. Regarding the cooperation between Chinese government and African countries, there are two major national level cooperation platforms. Number one is China-Africa Cooperation Forum held in Beijing, and this forum was initiated by Chinese President Xi Jinping, and Ethiopian Prime Minister attended this earlier as well. And the second major platform is the China-Africa Economic and Trade Forum that I mentioned earlier. And Chinese government decided to hold this forum in the capital, Changsha city, which is the capital of Hunan province. And this Changsha is set as the permanent holding city of this forum. The first session of this forum was held when I served as the Secretary General of Changsha city, and that was before COVID. And I remember in that year, there were two Ethiopian high officials. One is the Minister of Trade of the Ministry of Trade of Ethiopia. The other one is the Ethiopian ambassador in China. And I visited the exhibition hall and saw that among African products, 3 products ranked the top. One is red wine, second is coffee, third is olive oil. I don't remember very clearly, but I believe that in the exhibition booth of Ethiopia there were coffee, definitely. But every country attending the exhibition that had coffee, that promoted coffee, said that their coffee is the best, so we don't know who exactly is the best. And today, after listening to introduction and seeing your prediction of coffee sales in China market, I believe that if Ethiopian coffee does not have such a high quality, its percentage in Chinese market will not rise so fast. So after this visit, when I go back to China, I will tell more about Ethiopian coffee to my colleagues. Especially, I will turn my wife into a fan of Ethiopian coffee.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I will also make a contribution in promoting and encouraging Chinese food producers and selling enterprises to participate in Ethiopian coffee's plantation, processing, and sales processes. So I fully agree with you that we should work together to seize China's coffee market. And I believe very soon in the future, perhaps China and US will become the top 2 export destinations of Ethiopian coffee instead of 8th like now.
Thank you so much.
Because China is already the #1 destination for many products around the world. So we have many reasons and adequate reasons to believe that Ethiopia coffee's #1 market will be in China in the future. And this is my thoughts upon hearing your introduction. Now let's welcome Professor Deng to talk about the current plantation situation in China. Dear Mr. Chairman, Ms. Deputy Speaker, and fellow experts and leaders, I'm very happy to come to the hometown of coffee. Chairman Du has made an introduction about the growth of China's consumer market, and I will talk about the market from my perspective. For coffee in China, we mainly import from Africa and South America, although I believe that perhaps coffee in South America was from you as well. In China, the main plantation area is in Yunnan, which is in southern part of China. And there are some common features of Yunnan province and Ethiopia. That is, the area have a high altitude and low latitude. So the size of plantation areas have been expanded in recent years. In this process, we faced some common issues like you. So from an expertise point of view, I want to say that if we want to make coffee industry prosperous, we have a very large and promising market because Chinese young people love coffee. I study horticulture and I know a lot about tea, and we are worried that coffee would replace tea for Chinese young people. But we also tell my colleagues in tea to learn from the fact that why young people in China love coffee. We can learn more from it, and we should learn about coffee industry's value chain elevation and technology support transformation. So based on this consideration, China and Ethiopia are both developing countries, so we may face some common issues and challenges. Currently, we mainly focus. The main plantation is coffee bean plantation, and this runs true for China as well. So, how can we turn coffee bean into coffee drinks and turn them into different tastes that everyone loves? And in this regard, Chinese tea is lacking as well. That is, we cannot make every cup of tea the same taste. But for Nestle or for Starbucks, they do not plant coffee beans, but they are famous around the world and they make more money than anyone else because of standardization. So I believe in the future, China and Ethiopia can work together on a few areas. Firstly, seed resource research. We can study what specific seed species, seeds that are suitable for Chinese market, or in other words, what the destination market loves. In recent years, through molecular marker and gene marker and other technologies, we are able to understand what, for Chinese crops, how to improve Chinese crops, and we are able to understand, like in Chinese crops, which ingredients occupies a larger percentage, and in what conditions, and which ingredients are suitable for what specific population. So the first area of cooperation is that we can study the young people's consumption habits or consumption preferences. For example, we can conduct a preference evaluation. For example, young people in Beijing, their preference may be different from those in Shanghai. Take tea as an example. Some teas are suitable for Beijing market and some teas are suitable for Shanghai market. So we need to first study the market well in order to target the value creation in that specific market. And the third area of cooperation is the different ingredients of coffee. For example, what aromas, what fragrance this coffee has, and how can we, through baking process, what kind of baking process can make sure that we get this specific aroma or fragrance. Take tea leaves, for example. Now we make tea leaves produce different taste of tea through changes of chemicals and ingredients of tea. Now, in last decades, we have established the metabolotics of this technology to study the ingredients of coffee. So we can work on using such technologies to study the different ingredients of coffee to see what specific ingredients is suitable for specific populations. So there are some commonalities between the development of Chinese tea and the development of coffee. Well, Chinese tea originated from China, and we have made tea a national drink. Now, coffee originated from Africa, and you are turning it into a global drink as well. So I believe in the process of the development of these two drinks. Now we see that the development or the research of coffee were mainly conducted by developed countries. But the developed countries has done little research on tea. So now China are working on this regard, and China are working on tea, on city improvements, ingredients research, and on research on how to research on ingredients to make tea to suit the taste of different populations. So I believe that with the support of modern technology, we can do more such research on coffee, and I believe coffee has a very promising future if we can do this.
Thank you so much.